Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Benchmade 940-1501, the Knifeworks exclusive. A lot of you guys told me this is the best Benchmade 940, and I really can't argue with you now that I have one. I was not actually intending on doing a full review of this, but I did a little ode to the 940, which featured this, and I asked if you guys wanted to see a full review of it. A lot of you have told me emails, Instagrams, comments, all that stuff that you did want to see it. So here we go. This is a Benchmade 940, one of the most iconic EDC knives ever. As I said, this is the Knifeworks exclusive version. What makes it the Knifeworks exclusive? Well, first of all, these G10 handles with this cool blue. You can see it's like multi-layer blue, and then they mill it out, and you can see the blue coming through. And 20 CV steel, so actual genuine super steel on there, for $199, which is not cheap, but not bad for a 940. We're going to get into that more lately. That's one of the things that makes this, I think, I agree with you guys, it probably is the best 940 you can get. It is an exclusive, but I will say it's not in the nature of a lot of exclusives in that they came and they went. Knifeworks keeps ordering them. This has been available for years. It's almost always available. So yes, you do have to go to the Knifeworks site to get one, but they almost always have them. This isn't one of those exclusives that you have to like rush and grab and then you never see again for a couple years. This is a pretty regularly and reliably in stock knife. All right, let's do some specs before we get too much farther. Most of these specs are pretty similar to your average 940, which means a blade length of 3.4 inches, overall length of 7.9 inches. You have a blade length of 0.12 inches, handle thickness of 0.45 inches, and a weight of just 2.9 ounces. So a pretty darn light little knife. That's always been one of the calling cards of the 940. Very slim, very light. Let's do some size comparisons. I'm honestly just going to compare it against mostly stuff that I've been carrying a lot lately, because this did make my last, if you guys watched the live video I did a couple days ago, or yesterday I think, you can see that this made that list. So we'll compare it to some of the other stuff I've been carrying a whole lot, because this is kind of right in the wheelhouse of the size I like to carry. You have your Spyderco Gale Bradley 2. Bit of an esoteric comparison, but still, these are two that I do kind of debate sometimes when I have to carry them. We will compare it against one of our standards, the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, very similar in overall length to that. Another one of our standards here that I always try and fit in, because a lot of you guys have seen this. We have the Ontario Rat Model 1, a little bit shorter than that, slimmer than that, obviously. It's a very slim little knife is what you're going to get from most of these size comparisons. And another Axis lock knife. Oh, they're not allowed to say that. This is your Mass-Drop Millet TJ Swartz Perpetua. You can see it's a little bit longer than that. And here's just one, just for giggles. This is one that it just kind of reminds me of, not nearly as common of a knife, but the Real Steel Metamorph. It just kind of reminds me of that. This is a little bit slimmer and a little bit longer, but as general overall carry characteristics, it just kind of reminds me of that. All right, let's move on. So the 940 has been around for a really long time. You're looking at, I think, 2000. They debuted it at a blade show, and then it wound up going to production like 2001. It's an icon. It definitely is. There have been a bunch of different versions, but as I said, a lot of you guys have told me that this is the best one. And it is a really, really good one. As I said, you're getting G10 on the handles. The kind of standard one is aluminum handles. I don't have one of those on hand right now. I had one for a bit. Someone loaned it to me, but it just went out in the mail today. Probably should have shot this before I put it in the mail, eh? But very, very, I like the G10. They do a 940-2 that comes in G10, but you're looking at S30V steel now. This, as I said, is 20 CV, which is basically the same as M390. And it's not that much more expensive than the standard one. We'll talk more about that at the end. But $199. It's really well done. The quality is outstanding. I've had no issues. I know that people say Benchmade quality issues. The first thing you hear. This one, I've drip some knife pivot lube oil in there, but that's about all I've done, and it's still dead centered. The grind is great. No problems with the G10. Axis lock works great. This one has been outstanding. I will admit that enough people have complained about Benchmade stuff that I'm sure there have been some issues, but I really think that's not going to go as far as to say a thing of the past, but I think they've done a lot better with it. And if you do have them, they take care of it. Benchmade has about the best warranty department you could ever hope to have. It's really good. The blade, it's not the sliciest thing in the world. It is a pretty thin stock, as I said. Under it's just under 0.12 thousandths, so or 0.12 inches, sorry, and it's about 23 thousandths behind the edge. It's a decent slicer. I'm not going to say it's the best, but it's pretty darn good. It's an excellent piercer. 940s have a great tip on them. They really do. If you're stabbing into cardboard and cutting it that way, these are great for that. If you're just making long cuts, maybe you can find something better. But really, it's a great iconic blade shape for a reason. And when Osborne designed this, he nailed it. Did a really good job. I really do like the blade on this, and especially in this nice 20 CV steel. Ergonomics, I find them to be pretty good, and I shouldn't, because this is a very thin handle, and I didn't get into this as much as my little ode to the 940 video, which I'll link to here at the end of this video, but I have really long fingers, pretty skinny, but really long, and I still find it to fit pretty well. Yes, my fingers are fully, engaging with my palm here when I wrap around it, but it still works pretty well. It's never really been a problem, no hot spots at all or anything like that. It's a simple handle, and as a lot of other people have said, the simpler the handle, usually the more people it fits. And it fits really well. This jimping is a bit far back. It's the only thing I'd ever say on all 940s. I kind of wish there was a little jimping up there, but that's a tiny little thing. Other than that, it works pretty well for me ergonomically. But some people do think the handle is too thin, and I understand that. If you have big, giant monkey hands, it might not fit you quite right. So that's completely fine. Ape hands, I guess, be a better thing to say. Monkeys might have tiny, little, cute hands. Apes have big hands. So yeah, if you have big, giant ape hands, it might not work quite as well for you, but works great for me. And again, really long fingers, so it shouldn't fit me as well as it does, but it's really good. As far as the carry goes, this does have a deep carry clip on it. This is not stock. This is the stock clip that it comes with, and I'll hold it up here. The reason why this has a deep carry, and a cat hair on it, the reason why it has a deep carry clip on it is because another one of the great things about Benchmade, this is the one it comes with, which is fine, but I like the deep carry clip better, and you can just call up Benchmade and ask nicely, and they send you one. So that's really cool. They don't charge you or anything. Just call up and say, hey, I have a 940-1501. I'd like a deep carry clip. And it may take a couple weeks to get it, because if they don't have them, they don't have them. But if they have them in stock, they just send you one right out. It's awesome. And no questions asked. They're super cool about it. And I really like having the deep carry clip on this one. As far as the deployment, it's an axis lock. It's great, and I think it's one of the best applications of the axis lock. Super drop shutty. This one I've been using a whole lot since I got it. I've only had it a couple weeks, but I've been using, almost a month now, I guess. But super drop shutty. As I said, all I did was drip some knife pivot lube in there. Probably didn't even really need to do that, but that stuff is unicorn tier, so I like to use it when I can, because it does make a difference usually. Just really cool. You can play it with a thumb stud like I just did, or you can just use the axis lock. They're so much fun to play with. These are just, in a lot of ways, that nice slim blade, slim handle. In a lot of ways, they kind of feel like, like an old school switchblade from a 60s movie or something, even though they're not. They're completely legal most places unless you have a blade length restriction. But they're just so flippy and so free flowing, if that's a thing. They're just great. They're so much fun to play with. I really think that the axis lock, as far as Benchmade goes, did the best job on the 940s. And as the same with the Spyderco exclusives, I will say I think Benchmade, they pay a bit more attention to the exclusives. Everybody's going to argue about that, but Benchmade exclusives I had were always perfect. I think they do spend a bit more time on the Q&A. I've had this exclusive, and I've also had the REI exclusive, and both of these were absolutely perfect out of the box. Other ones took some break-in time. I think they do spend just a smidge more time on the Q&A, or Q&A, the quality control on these. So on the exclusives, but is this the best 940 you can buy? I think most of us can agree. I know I can. The 940 is an awesome knife. Is this the best one you can buy? The other one I have is what I used to think was the best one I could buy, which is the 940-1, which is S90V steel, the carbon fiber handles. I still like the look of the carbon fiber handles better. I'm not in love with this blue Tron look. It's fine, but I'm not like in love with it. But as far as bang for the buck, this is $267. This is $199. Your aluminum handle 940 is, which is the one that they probably sell the most of, is which is like a green, which I'm not a big fan of green either, but those are like $183. And then you can get a 940-2, which is the same G10 handles, but in pure black with and both of those ones I mentioned, you have S30V steel. You know, $183 and then $170 for the -2. $170, and for $29 more you can get 20 CV. That's a significant jump in steel. And as I said, it's an exclusive. It's an exclusive. You can only get it from one place, but man, they're not shy about keeping them in stock. They've been around for a couple of years now, and you can always get one. So I would say if you're seriously considering a 940, and especially if you don't mind the blue, yeah, I agree with the people who told me that this is the best 940 you can get. I was very happy with this one, with the carbon fiber. And I still am. I still like it. It's still very pretty. It's a gorgeous thing and carry around, and it makes a great gentleman's knife too, where this doesn't quite make a gentleman's knife because it's got the bright blue on it. But other than the color, unless you're just religiously opposed to the blue, yeah, it probably is the best 940 you can buy. Good on Knifeworks for speccing it this way. It is a great version of a great knife, and I'm kind of glad you guys forced me to do a full review on it. As I said, I had no intentions to, because it's been out for a couple of years now. But it's just a great knife, and it's been in my pocket a whole lot lately, and will continue to be so. I might dye the scales pure black. I don't know. On the scale thing, the one last thing I'll say, one caveat about it is, if you're thinking G10 that's going to be grippy like a Spyderco or something, it isn't. This is pretty slick G10, but that's fine with me. But if you want something really grippy, no 940 is going to satisfy you. None of them are particularly grippy, but I do like the feel of the G10. I like the look of it. Other than maybe the blue, but that's it. I've kept you guys here long enough. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I think, yeah, if you're getting a 940, this is the one I'd recommend. The 940-1501 from Knifeworks. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.